Those designer series paper scraps, doggone it, they just seem to take over. Well, we're going to take those scraps today. We're going to create two amazing cards so that we can take those and really showcase that gorgeous paper. Hello, welcome everyone. I'm Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. And today's Tuesday tip video, we are going to take some of those designer series paper scraps and turn them into some fantastic cards. I'll be using the Florals in Bloom designer series paper, but I know you have a lot of scraps. So I want you to get creative with what you have. Let's get started creating two amazing cards featuring designer series paper scraps. We are going to start with this card here. Congratulations, a way to go. There's so many different ways you can use the phrase way to go. This card has a really fun flap that lifts over, and then our card opens this way. We've got lots of places we're going to use some scrap designer series paper. Before I jump in with that, I want to share that there is a download that goes along with today's video. So no need to write down any measurements. I have them all here for you. You'll have measurements, the supply list, photos, of course. And if you click this QR code or scan it, either one, it's going to bring you right back here to YouTube so you can get a little refresher if you need it. And my friends, if you are in the United States, I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. It's your orders that help keep the channel going. And these are all the supplies I used on both cards. It's a really minimal supply list. You can click the image or you can follow that link. It'll take you right to my online store. Order what you need. But as I said at the beginning, I want you to use what you have. I know you've got a lot of scraps. So I'm going to be featuring the Florals in Bloom designer series paper. I think this is so beautiful. I've used a lot of it, which means I do have a lot of scraps. So I have a piece here. This is a 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. These, let's see, what is this on the back of? This is on just the real pretty floral paper, but I loved these little stripes in cloud cover. And these are 4 inches by 3 3/4. And then I have a little one here. This is a 2 3/4 by 1/2 inch. So let's jump in. This is my card base. It's a little bit different, right? This is a 2 3/4 by 11 inches, and I've scored it at 5.5. So it's kind of nice. You can get 3 cards out of one sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. And I've got a piece of Secret Sea. I think this is my new favorite color. And that is a 4 1/4 by 5.5. So it's a quarter sheet. I'm going to take my little card base and we're going to add that right in the middle of my Secret Sea cardstock. Now, we're going to start to come in now with our designer series paper. So there is my 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. We are going to add that right down here at the bottom. Now, I got to tell you, there's something that just kind of drives me crazy whenever I have strips of designer series paper. I don't like that seam. So let me tell you what I did. I've got a little tiny scrap of Secret Sea. This is 1/8 of an inch. And I believe I have it at 3 inches because I want you to be able to trim it down. Means you don't have to putz with it quite so much. I'm going to use multi-purpose glue here. Does not take much, that's for sure. We're going to adhere that right across that seam. And yes, I do have a little hanging off. But like I said, this kind of helps ensure I get it exactly where I want it. I'd rather trim it down than to try to deal with getting that perfect. All right, let's work with our little flap. Now this is 1 inches by 5.5, and I've scored it at 1 1/4 of an inch. So let's go ahead and give that a little score. And I'm going to put adhesive right here on this little 1 1/4 inch area. I'm going to bring in my card, and what I want to do, I want to make sure that's going to go right across the middle, and it's going to come all the way over to the edge. This is on the back. I hope it doesn't bother you. It does not bother me, but I'm going to put that right back there. So we're going to bring in those 2 pieces of designer series paper, these little scraps. These were 4 inches by 3/4 of an inch. So we're going to add those. It's going to center up right there. We're going to add another one to the inside. This one, of course, is optional, but I had the strips, right? So again, I just want to kind of make everything on this card look a little extra special, but when you're using scraps, you really can do that. I had one more little strip of designer series paper. Now this was a 2 3/4 by 1/2 inch. Again, it's just a little piece of scrap. And if you needed to change up the designer series paper here, you are welcome to do that as well. I'm going to add that right here to the bottom of my card. Kind of gives it a little bit of something. All right, let's do some stamping. I'm going to be featuring the Encircled with Love stamp set and a strawberry slush ink pad. Now, if you may or may not have noticed in the catalog, there is a new circle punch, and that is the 1 7/8" circle punch. We're going to be using that. It goes perfectly with this stamp set. So I'm going to bring in, I've got a little scrap, more scraps of basic white. This is a 2.5 by 2.5. Use whatever scraps you have. We're going to make this a way to go card. So, way to go can mean so many different things, right? Maybe someone got a promotion at work. Maybe you had someone who had a graduation or, just did something awesome and you want to say way to go. We're going to come in with our 1 7/8 circle punch. We're going to have a nice little white border around that. So we can give that a quick punch. I also, in my directions, I had a 2-inch circle punch, and that is from Secret Sea. I'm going to add these one on top of the other. It's going to have a nice little narrow border around it. We're going to bring in our card. We're going to add that to the front. So right here in the middle of my flap, we're going to center that up. It's going to go right there. It needs bling. Everything needs bling. So I'm going to bring in the 2025, 2027 in color flat pearls. I love these. I think on my original, I used the cloud cover, but you know what? I've got so many colors going here. I can really use anything. How about I bring in some strawberry slush? But any of these would look great. I could use Secret Sea. I've just used up a lot of my cloud cover ones. Guess those were my favorites. I'll start with a large one there. And then on either side, I'm going to grab one of the medium-sized pearls, put that on either side. Now the small ones, I'm telling you, it just really makes the card. Sometimes things need just that little bit of bling. I love that. And of course, when you open it, you kind of have that showcase there. I also like to, whenever I do flaps, I love to add a little ribbon. So I've got the 1/4 inch white ribbon, and I'm just going to tie it in a square knot. You could do a bow as well, whichever one. I'm going to tie it in a square knot right here on the left side of the flap. And friends, I'm telling you, that took minutes, right? Look at that. So we can say whatever we need to on the inside, because like I said, with a phrase like way to go, it can mean so many different things. Now, I do want to be real open and honest with you. I'd probably stamp something else here, but I don't know what I want to stamp just yet. So I'm going to leave it blank. I have many, many sentiments in my stash. So I know that I could come in later at any time and stamp an image or stamp a sentiment if I want. But that is card number 1 featuring scraps. Let's check out my second card. Don't forget about the free download I have for you that goes along with today's cards. If you'd like to recreate them, by grabbing this free download, you'll have the measurements, the supply list, you'll have photos, and a QR code. You can click or scan that QR code. It's going to bring you right back here to YouTube. So if you need a refresher on how to make the cards, you'll have that. Remember, you can find this at simplysimplestamping.com, or if you look down in the YouTube description, I've got a direct link for you. All right, how about this one? Again, I'm leaving the inside blank. I'm going to make this a thank you card. And we're going to be using 1 inch by 1 inch scraps of designer series paper. And I've got 3 different DSP designs. So let's look at how we're going to create this card. My card base is strawberry slush. That is an 11 inches by 4 1/4 scored at 5.5. Tell you what, let's go ahead. We're just going to go ahead and work on the inside. I've got a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 Darling Duckling. Absolutely beautiful card. I especially love it right there with some strawberry slush. And then I have a piece of basic white, 3 3/4 by 5. So the inside, whenever I am ready to write my message, I'm good to go. All right, now on the front of this card, I've got a piece of basic white that is 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. That's just going to go right here in the middle. On top of that, we're going to add a piece of Darling Duckling. And this one is I'm sorry, this must have been 3 1/2. Forgive me. This was a 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. This is a 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 of Darling Duckling. Before I adhere it, I'm going to bring in the 2-inch circle punch. And I'm going to punch from behind that. And I'm going to adhere that here onto the front of my card. No one's going to see this. No one's going to even know it's there because we're going to have layers on top of it. So I'm going to add that. One of my favorite Tuesday tips is to die cut or punch something from behind your layers. Why not? Once we go and we put this on top of it and we have that designer series paper, no one's going to have a clue. And now for my focal image, this is a 3-inch by 4 1/4. I have 9 little pieces of 1-inch by 1-inch designer series paper. So you want 3 different patterns. So I've got this one, I've got this one, there we go. That's my 3. So I'm going to start here in the middle, but I want to do a little something. I'm going to put just a dot of adhesive, okay? I don't want a lot just yet because I can guarantee you're going to need to move these around. So I'm going to start and I'm going to put one of my pieces, and you're going to do these in a diamond shape. So again, just a little bit of adhesive. I'm going to line up my next one. I'm not even pressing these down yet. And we'll add more adhesive here at the end. But we're going to start with that. So you notice the points are touching at the top and the bottom, and they're touching there in the middle. Okay. We're going to now come in with 2 of this one and 2 of this one. So let's set these off to the side. We're not there yet. We will add these. And these are going to tuck right inside, and it's going to touch that outside edge. Okay, let's add another one. And for this one, you do want to kind of make sure your patterns are going in the right direction. You notice these are touching as well. Okay, if they're not, don't stress over it yet, because like I said, we will be moving these things around. Okay. Wow. You know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm really shocked. I somehow managed to get that right on the first try. That usually does not happen. All right. We're going to add this one. Usually, I'm not kidding. Usually, I got to move everything around. All right. Well, shocker of all shocks. It's actually all nice and straight. I can see all of my my grout lines. I don't know if that's not even the right words, but these inside edges, everything's even. If it weren't, this will be that time that you can kind of move things around. So I'm now going to add more adhesive, and I'm going to start up here at the top. Now I want to go a little bit heavier, but because I have everything kind of laid out, it sure makes it easier. And I think I'm going to kind of start from the top, the bottom, the left, the right, work it in that way. And so if you'll give me just a minute, I'm going to get all of these adhered, and then I'll show you what we're going to do with these 2. Those have been adhered down. We're going to take our last 2 squares, and because I want to make sure my pattern is going the right way, it needs to go this way. I can see the direction I need to cut this in half. I'll do the same thing here. This one doesn't have as much of a direction, so we'll cut that in half. And for these, we are going to simply add this up here at the top. These should be pretty easy to add, and you shouldn't have to have that kind of adhered in place first. You should be good to go. Once you get those other pieces, it's usually all set. All right, I'm going to add my last 2 of my pretty little strawberry slush. I love this color combination as well. I'm going to flip that over. I'm going to give it a really good back rub there. And now we're ready to add this to the front of our card. What a great way to use up some scraps. Again, we're going to hide that circle. Not a problem. We'll add that right there. We're going to take that circle punch. I'm going to add some Stampin' Dimensionals to the back. You can put this anywhere on your card. This is a great time to say, oh, where did I maybe mess up a little bit? If you had messed up on one side, put this wherever you need to hide something. We're really good at hiding things. Let's see. I actually think I'm going to put mine right down here at the bottom. And now, now I'm going to kind of bop myself on the head. Friends, I should have stamped on that back layer right there. Would have been perfect. I just wasn't thinking. Who's surprised? Okay, well, I'm just going to bring in some scrap. I just grabbed this out of my scrap drawer. I've got a Granny Apple Green ink pad, and we're going to make a thank you card. So again, my apologies. I should have thought, but yeah, this would have been great to have stamped on that back layer before I adhered it down. It's all good. Now we can come in with the 1 7/8 inch circle punch. We'll give that a little punch out. We're going to add that to the Darling Duckling circle here on the front. And now we can come back in with our flat pearls. I love these. Now, again, I've used up all my small ones. That's all right. Really, it's kind of, you can do whatever you want. I think on this one, I'll just do 3 of the medium ones. It's a little thing, but it adds so much. Friends, what a great and beautiful card, just featuring truly some scraps. It's time to grab those scraps, get creative. Whichever card you decide to go with, you really can't go wrong as long as you've got some colors that blend nicely together. And listen, I know you have a lot of 1-inch scraps. I think we all do. And this one was just a little 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And these were definitely just some leftover scraps. You're going to have so much fun. But I do want to give a shameless plug to the Encircled with Love stamp set. Look at all of these great images you have. Goes perfect with the 1 7/8 inch circle punch. Many of them, you can also use your 1 3/4. You could use your 2-inch, 2 3/8. If you've got those circle punches or circle dies, all of those are going to be great with this stamp set. And we cover so many different holidays and sentiments that it's absolutely perfect. Thank you all so much for being a part of today's video. If you enjoyed the video, would you give me a thumbs up on YouTube? I always appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed, take a moment to click that subscribe button. If you ring the bell, YouTube will even let you know when I have a new video that's uploaded. And I share twice a week here on the channel, and I'd love to have you be a part. If you love paper crafting, you're going to want to check out my YouTube membership. Just click the join button right there next to the subscribe button, and you can read all about the amazing perks I have for my YouTube members. All right, my friends, thank you so much for being a part of the video today. I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to stamping with you next time. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.